G'day guys, Nathan here. Are you ready for an explosive surge in house prices? Dive in today with us as we uncover the unique landscape of the Australian property market shaped by elderly Australians and analyse the effects of the Reserve Bank's recent historic cash rate hike in the midst of its controversial $25,000 dinner saga, all setting up for 2024 as a landmark year in real estate. Unprecedented conditions, including near maximum interest rates and a scarcity of options for prospective buyers, could lead to an unexpected rise in house prices, potentially hitting an all-time high as early as January. Residential property prices appear to be on the upwards trend, predicting an annual increase over the present financial year. This comes after the national markets have demonstrated a consistent upward swing in the initial 5 months of 2023 based on information from property data provider PropTrack, following a downward slope for 10 months until a trough in December. The costs related to housing bounced back 1.55%. They show a mere 2.6% shy of their highest record value during the pandemic boom. If the current market dynamics persist, with supply falling short of demand, PropTrack senior economist Eleanor Cree predicts a universal growth that could set new records next year. Limited fresh inventory is driving concentrated interest of buyers, bolstering prices and countering the downwards force exerted by rising interest rates, according to Cree. If the widespread price inflation witnessed in the past quarter is maintained, the national average of property prices could exceed their former high point by January of 2024, she states. She added, expectations of continued population growth, strained rental market conditions, and a housing deficiency do persist, and the demand remains strong against anticipated slowdown in economic activity. Most of the major capital cities might actually see a positive annual price growth in the near future. Several large banking institutions and economists have had to revise their forecasts surrounding the house prices in light of the decreased likelihood of a 15 to 20% correction in the market. And if you too find value in this video, please consider hitting that subscribe button, as it does really help out the channel. And guys, if you are a subscriber, thanks for your support, as it does inspire us to create more content. So we hope you enjoy. This year, Sydney's property market has made the fastest comeback, increasing by 3% despite its status as the country's priciest market and its susceptibility to interest rate rises over the past 15 months. If current trends persist, prices could reach a new record by December of this year. Brisbane property market has also shown a remarkable resilience with a swift 2% reversal. The city is set to announce a positive annual growth by July of this year and could surpass its previous peak by September. With the present rate of growth, Canberra could exceed its record high by late 2024, followed by Darwin in early 2025 and Hobart by 2023. On the other hand, Adelaide and Perth have maintained their peak levels for several months and are showing promising signs of further upward movement. But the rise in seller confidence, potential leading to an increase in market supply, could pose challenges to the growth in the coming months. June has seen another interest rate hike, and we could see more to come, which could dampen the recovery. However, if interest rates are nearing their peak, the impact of these increases has somewhat diminished. SQM Research has also recently cautioned that the double dip downturn might be on the horizon for property markets, with prices likely to fall if the number of households forced to sell under distressed conditions rises, especially if coupled with increased unemployment rates. Moving on, and we've seen a significant percentage of properties in Queensland, Victoria and New South Wales that were purchased without financial loans by elderly Australians in 2022. This indicates a notable generational gap in the real estate market. Benefiting from the surge in property prices, these Australians are seemingly impervious to climbing interest rates, accounted over the last quarter of home sales. According to a study conducted by Property Exchange Australia, also known as PEXA, who are a property insights organization, the total number of residential properties sold in 2022 was valued at $478 billion. out of which cash transactions comprised of $122 billion. The study further identified that 25% of residential properties sold, which equated to about 135,000 homes, were procured without a mortgage. This implies that the rate increased by the Reserve Bank of Australia in its bid to control inflation won't affect a substantial demographic. The majority of cash transactions in Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland were directed towards the acquisition of residential properties rather than land plots. This statistics excluded commercial property transactions, but acknowledged that buyers might have utilised existing loan facilities like equity from other properties or foreign lenders to purchase these properties. Mike Gill, PEXA's research chief, asserts that these cash transactions were largely carried out by older Australians, aiming to downsize during their retirement years and take advantage of soaring house prices. He pointed out that many have likely sold their family homes, reaping from the benefits of price inflation over the recent years and using the proceeds of their sale to finance a new property. Upon downsizing, the elderly can contribute up to $300,000 from the sale of their homes into their superannuation fund, provided that they have had ownership of that property for a minimum of 10 years. Gill identified these cash buyers as green changers, moving from urban to rural areas where property prices are usually cheaper. In contrast, younger homeowners are likely to have larger homes, especially recent buyers, whereas many older homeowners have either paid off their home loans or are able to purchase a retirement home just outright. Thus, as the Reserve Bank interest rate rises to decelerate the economy are ongoing and they're trying to combat inflation, the burden disproportionately falls on younger Australians who are more sensitive to interest rate rises. PEXA's study discovers that cash transactions were more prevalent in affluent urban areas where property prices are typically higher. The Gold Coast topped the list of the highest value cash transactions in 2022. Meanwhile, a trend was noticeable where more people were opting to purchase cash in regional Queensland areas and New South Wales. This trend of cash property purchases isn't a new one and has seen a steady rise in recent years, according to Gill. While the Reserve Bank of Australia continues to hike interest rates in an attempt to control inflation, elderly cash buyers are reaping the benefits from higher interest rate payments on their savings. According to Gill, these older Australians are largely unaffected by interest rate hikes, and as a result, those with savings may actually gain from high interest during these times. Conversely, this puts younger borrowers further under strain, particularly those who have recently paid inflated prices for properties and now grappling with larger loans and rising interest rates. And taking a closer look at the Reserve Bank of Australia, who recently allotted nearly $25,000 for an exclusive dinner event in Perth. This lavish affair took place just hours following the announcement of its rate rise, which made it the 11th such increase in recent times. Transparency of the expenditure has come from the courtesy of Freedom of Information documents made available to the West Australian. The total cost of the evening, hosted at Fraser King Park, totaled nearly a hefty $24,500. The expense was justified on the grounds that the Reserve Bank of Australia was networking with influential leaders. This spending spree coincided with yet another cash rate hike in June's meeting, which saw the official cash rate increase to a staggering 11-year high at 4.1%. Reserve Bank Governor Philip Lowe ignited controversy when he subsequently made a statement suggesting struggling Australians should work more and spend less. The West Australian reports indicate that the aforementioned dinner, graced by 140 VIP attendees, and the guest list boasted of influential leaders like WA Premiers Mark McGowan, Liberal leaders, and top executives from renowned companies like Fortescue, Hancock Prospecting, BHP, and Rio Tinto. Responding to questions on the lavish dinner amongst the struggling economy, Dr. Lowe asserted the importance of interacting with the community and business leaders, NGOs, and more. The dinner, he said, was a platform for just that, a scrumptious meal including grilled barramundi, risotto, and lemon tart were all served. The total expenditure for the evening featured a $4,300 tab for drinks, amounted to around $176 per person. This included an initial $3,000 payment, the $90 per person set menu, and 3 upgrades adding to another $22 per head. And the Reserve Bank spending didn't stop there. An additional $720 was spent on extra staff hours and $919 on a comprehensive events package. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to stay informed with all things property and finance. As the bank tries to manage the nearly 7% inflation rate, Australians are finding the recent rate hikes hard to stomach, as stated by Treasurer Jim Chalmers. And Dr. Lowe's lifestyle advice for Australians, such as suggesting for people to share housing or work more hours to cope with housing costs, has been met with backlash, with many finding his perspective disconnected from the struggles faced by ordinary Australians. His term is set to end in September, and with his recent statements having stirred up a significant controversy as to date, it's going to be interesting to see how things play out. Did you know here at Hunter Galloway, we're a mortgage broker and we deal with people Australia-wide. So if you're a first homeowner looking to get in the market, feel free to reach out with us. Call us on 1300 088 065 or visit our website where you can fill in a contact form, huntergalloway.com.au. Guys, as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.